একই ব্যাপার জানেন তো, আমি অফিস ছাড়া রেকর্ডিং হবে।
Done. I'm recording. The recording has started. Okay, so I'm sharing the PPT right now. Sir, is the PPT visible?
Yes, yes, visible.
It is visible, right?
Yes, yes.
Okay. So today myself, Professor Joyjit Chakraborty from the Bhawanipur Education Society College, University of Kolkata, alongside Dr. Abhijit Pandit from Amity University, we are going to present a paper on COVID-19 and global higher education, opportunities and challenges. So Dr. Pandit, would you like to give a short introduction about yourself?
Hello everyone, I am Dr. Abhijit Pandit. I am the assistant professor from Amity University, Kolkata. So we are going to deliver a presentation on the topic COVID-19 and global higher education opportunities and challenges. So
Okay.
Jayajit sir will start the session.
So I'll start the session. I'll cover a few slides and then I'll hand over the presentation to Dr. Abhijit Pandit. Now, as far as our paper is concerned, we have tried to analyze the evolution of education right from the primitive times to the present times and how these dynamics have changed as far as the students and their access to education is concerned. So if we just trace back to the primitive days, as I have just mentioned, we can we can probably start with the introduction of matriculation level education, which offered a wide range of subjects as a part of a rudimentary training. And then we came to the era of intermediary bridge education, where the students were obliged to choose between humanities and science. Commerce was not really considered to be a very lucrative domain earlier, and it was only restricted to a handful of individuals. But later on, as today we can observe that commerce as a separate field has emerged, and parallel to commerce, we have various other professional education running, running parallelly, goes by the name of chartered accountancy, company secretary, then cost accountancy, CFA, etc., etc. Even commerce students are highly demanded in various B schools. So people after finishing their BCom can probably go for an MBA course in any top bracket B school such as an IIMs or XLRIs and ISB, etc. And they can also try their metal out of the country, where they can go abroad and pursue their MBA and through a common entrance exam which goes by the name of GMAT exams. So this is how the field of commerce have changed over the time. Now, one thing which is very important to note, that previously what it used to be known as matriculation later on came to be known as madhyamik, and which is pretty much equivalent to the secondary exam, and similar other secondary exam like ISC and CBSC, etc., also opened up different kind of avenues for students. Now, if I evaluate the time frame after 1992, then we can see that there are a lot of B schools coming up in the picture, and these B schools started offering cross-disciplinary subjects. What do you mean by cross-disciplinary subjects? Cross-disciplinary subjects are those domains which are not restricted to one particular subject. Rather, it is a combination, it is an amalgamation of different subjects taken together. For example, today a student of marketing has to know a lot of economics as well. On the other hand, a person from finance also needs to have a good amount of knowledge regarding the quantitative techniques. So you can't say that being a student of finance and marketing, you are not in a position to discount yourself from the other arenas like economics, math, stat, etc. So all these things are related together, and we know that there is a great deal of application of statistics in all the management domains, starting from marketing, finance, even or behavioral science, etc., etc. So math stat, which was by far which according to the popular belief is a part of pure science, no more remain confined to that territory. Rather, it went on to spread its wings across other domains as well. So, somebody studying economics or pursuing a BSc in economics also needs to learn mathematics during their first year of graduation level. And consequently, as I have mentioned, that commerce as a field galloped a lot and totally transcended itself to a different level altogether. So that is why, apart from the CA, CS, all those education, you can see today that there are specific courses running like banking, insurance, etc., etc., where commerce students come in numbers and try their luck. So another thing which is very important is the influx of computer education. Now, computer education, which was restricted to certain pockets even 10 years back, today when we talk about computer, it is not only restricted to few things that we can operate, but at the same time, this entire I would say this entire domain of computer education has changed a lot. And today, even I would say that students at their very school level are also given a lot of training with regard to Python, R, etc., which give them a very solid foundation regarding their analytical abilities. So you can see that these softwares, which were previously restricted to management students and some other statistics students, these are right now also taught at school level to provide the students with some basic understanding about these softwares. And as we know that in the next 5 years of time, the domain of big data analytics is going to loom large. So considering all this fact, it has become very essential for the school level education as well to venture out into these areas. Now different. So we have seen specifically, I would say, after the 80s and the 90s, the MBA and MC education came to the forefront. So MBA education, which was largely restricted to few IIMs, and the first MBA education that started in the country, if I'm not mistaken, was IISWBM under University of Calcutta. So MBA education in India was restricted to only 8 to 10 institutes. Okay, and it was not a very popular course, but over a period of time, it gained a lot of momentum. And today we can see that a person without an MBA degree cannot even stand tall in the corporate sector. So if you want to rise up to the managerial level, it is getting an MBA degree becomes a very important prerequisite, and it is demanded across different employment sectors. Now, as we can observe that today there is a very lesser demand of subjects like Sanskrit, philosophy, political science, etc., etc., etc. But whereas we have seen that English as a subject always having a very popular demand, because from English you can move to different zones. Like an English honor student can go to journalism, mass communication, etc. So English, which was previously perceived as a general degree, where people used to everybody used to go for an MA or a PhD, and which was the only viable option after doing an English honors. So this is not something which is prevalent these days. So an English honors student can also take up some other domains and can specifically in the areas of journalism and mass communication. Now, other domains like LLB. Now, LLB previously was an autonomous domain. Now, LLB is in conjunction with BCom. Even there is a famous university called KIT University in Bhubaneswar, which offers a integrated BBA LLB program, and which is demanded a lot among the students. Even today, you won't see people only from history or political science going to IAS exams, but people from engineering, people from medicine background, and people from various other disciplines try out their luck in various administrative exams like IAS or WBCS. So the entire perception about education is changing, has changed, I would say, over a period of time. And today we are observing a much more open-minded form of education, where any kind of subjects that you choose will welcome you with open arms. So somebody pursuing history does not mean that he would end up getting an MA degree in history, but rather from history he can move into several specific domains like archaeology or or maybe some other related domains, because since I'm not a history student I won't be able to tell you the exact nomenclature. But history, or somebody, or maybe somebody pursuing geography. Previously it was the only option after pursuing a BA in geography was an MA in geography. But from my personal experience I can tell you that one of my family members have basically pursued a degree in geoinformatics after having a degree in geography. So geoinformatics is a professional degree which can be pursued by people from geography domain. So these are some of the paradigm shifts that have happened in the area of education. And today, subjects like human resource, publicity, and advertisements are not only simply departments in a big MBA college, but today we have specialized institutes like, say, Mudra Institute of Communication, like MICA at Ahmedabad, which offers degrees in advertisements, which offer degree in digital marketing. So you have, so we can see there are a lot of gigantic institutes providing specialized training on specialized subjects. And this is what was not observed even 10 years back. So this is, I would say, a great change happened in the area of education. Even you see that today banking job is not only restricted to commerce people or some finance people, but today you can see anybody from other background can join the banking industry, both at the private as well as the public level. So this is from my front. The rest of the presentation would be done by Dr. Abhijit Pandit. Now, Dr. Abhijit Pandit, you may please carry forward.
Thank you, Professor Joyjit Chakraborty. So you have given a fantastic, introduction to the topic. So I just wanted to continue from where Sir has left. Like it can be argued, like there are certain obstructions which we want to encounter while we are trying to revive our existing, education policy for the betterment of the student fraternity. Like you can see that it can be argued that the staircase protocol is logical, but while ascending a field of knowledge, the logic is most potent for pure science subjects. It is a settled concept that requires finite efflux of time to gradually understand the nuances of mathematics. Like as you can understand, like if you advance different levels of knowledge, like if you start from the class 10 level, then you move on to class 12, and then graduation, post graduation, even you can pursue PhD, postdoc, and whatsoever. Like if you are in the field of science or engineering or technology or any related field, you need to have a thorough grasp of the subject called mathematics. Okay, so you can understand that, as Joyjit sir has rightly pointed out, that English is a very basic subject. So if you are thorough with English, you can grasp most other subjects. So another such very important like subject which really helps you to have a thorough knowledge of, like grasp over various other subjects, or from where you can develop many other subjects. So that is also mathematics. So mathematics is considered to be a pure science, but you can imagine it has immense applications in various other fields. It can be the field of science, technology. It can be field of management. It can be economics. It can be psychology, behavioral science. It has immense application. Like as Sir has pointed out, in geography, there is an option you can switch over to bioinformatics. So if you don't know the particular tricks of the trade of mathematics, you cannot do advanced level. Computational things, and lot more things are heavily dependent on mathematics. Like what is there in mathematics? So there are a lot of branches. Like you can see, like basic algebra, trigonometry. So these are all various like tools, we can say. They can be considered as tools which will help you to tackle all the complicated problems which you face, like in any field, like which can come across you. Like you can have, like if you take modern physics, so without the knowledge of advanced level mathematics, you cannot deal with that. Like if you can take the subject called physics, so there are two types of physicists. One is a theoretical physicist, another is an experimental physicist. So the theoretical physicist has to make those laws. Okay, and for making a particular law, something new, so you need to have a thorough, very very thorough knowledge about mathematics. So and then after making a particular law or some statement or hypothesis, you have to prove it with the help of some practical work. So you find the very much relevance of the subject called mathematics. Without that, you cannot proceed at all in the field of physics. And same way, if you take the subject called chemistry, so there are various branches of it. We have got organic chemistry, inorganic chemistry, physical chemistry. Now, in the uh, branch called physical chemistry, there is a very important term called physical. Physical is an adjective of physics. So you find the relevance of physics, you find the relevance of mathematics, and definitely the relevance of chemistry. All the three must be thoroughly, blended. If you want to delve into the details of physical chemistry. So, and one more thing, right now in physical chemistry, you find the research work, the modern level research work is also dependent on the use of advanced level computational skills. So a physical chemist, without thorough knowledge of various softwares used for the analysis and all, cannot do some fantastic publication. So cannot tackle the project work. So we find not only the relevance of mathematics, even we find other interdisciplinary subjects like computational skill that also gets involved. So like what I wanted to say is that like no subject can stand alone in the modern era, and that's why you cannot only give expertise to a particular student in a particular domain. You have to make the student relate that particular subject with other interdisciplinary aspects, and you have to give that freedom to the student right from the very basic level. So from why not from the school level? In the school level, mostly what we have seen, like in age old practice, the students just need to cram for the purpose of exam, and in the exam they vomit whatever they have understood. And you see, after a few months, the students, if they are asked what have they learned, so they mostly forget, like major part of it, and they are unable to relate that with the practical aspect. So why not make the education system in our country lot more practical oriented, not more skill oriented, like which will help really enhance the skill level of the students, which will give the students confidence to do something original, something new, something innovative. So why not give them the incorporate the skill enhancement programs right from the school level? So that
Yes, sir.
vocational education is also very, very vital. So that in our modern education policy, which has been implemented in the last year, so we have found drastic changes in the existing educational curriculum. So we cannot say that it's just a copy paste content of what has been found in the more the developed nations like USA, UK, but we find that it is definitely a better version of what has been practiced for a very long period of time. And one more thing, we can see that the students should also have the freedom to do interdisciplinary subjects, like if they are in the field of English, and if the student has a knack towards physics or mathematics, the student should be given an option to pursue minor in suppose in mathematics along with major English. The same way a student who is doing engineering course, the student has a knack towards music, or the student has a knack towards poetry or something creative work, journalism. So the student should be given the opportunity to pursue a minor domain in the field of suppose mass comm or journalism, or maybe poetry, or maybe music, along with the major program which can be suppose mechanical engineering. So that of liberty should be there. Even one more very important thing should be there: the student should be given an option to switch over from one domain to the other domain in a field like engineering. Suppose the student initially enrolled himself or herself as for mechanical engineering, but the student might not feel like doing the subject in future. So student might while pursuing the course, suppose for 1 year common course which is there in the engineering discipline, so they find that the demand of mechanical engineering has dropped a lot during that period of 1 year. So another emerging field which can be also pursued simultaneously, that is suppose electrical engineering. So the student should be given the power freedom to switch over from mechanical to electric. So this interdisciplinary migration should also be there, and even they should be given the freedom to switch over from one educational institution to the other one. They can switch over the colleges. They should be able to give the freedom to switch over from one university to other, which actually is happening in the developed nations, USA, UK, and European nations. This is actually a reality. You should not force a student to pursue a particular course, or to do education from a particular institution which the student may not like to pursue. Initially, the student had some a liking for that particular course or the particular institution, but it can happen that the student might develop some negative attitude towards that program or the institute. So you should not debar the student from choosing a better opportunity or better program. Okay, so for the it should be mostly made student centric. Our modern education system should give a lot of freedom to the student fraternity, and they should be mostly concentrating on everything just based on the interest of the students. So, we want to see drastic changes, as you can see in the USA. We can see some great, like leaders, the president, past president like Barack Obama, John F. Kennedy. Warren Buffett, they have actually migrated several times, like during the graduation. So from one college to the other. So because that freedom they got, and you can see what is the result. They have excelled in their own field and they are able to fulfill their dreams. So that has to be there. So like what Union government has taken, they have just given us a draft, I mean like educational plan, policy, but that has not been implemented till now because of a lot of crisis situation like Corona, actually the COVID situation actually we had planned, but it could not be because of a lot of problems which we are facing right now. But yes, we have a lot of opportunities to further modify this existing system, and also side by side we need to adopt all the challenges like the modern education system. I have a personal feeling that it is going to become a blended form of learning. So only classroom education will not work, even if the COVID crisis is over. Now we have already adopted online education, so we are able to do that. Our education system has not suffered to that extent. Okay, we know that our COVID crisis has really, our GDP has slowed down a lot. So the worst situation, in the top, 15 developed nations, India has been the worst affected countries, is our country. So it has fallen below 20%. GDP has fallen below that level. So but out of the various sectors which has slowed down a lot, education sector is that which has actually not slowed down at all. Okay, it has rather like lived up to its expectations. So that thanks to the teaching fraternity who have taken this challenge to switch over their mode of delivery from classroom to online mode of delivery. Even they have imbibed this modern practice. Even the students also, they have happily accepted this modern form of education. So yes, I think this will be the order of the day, and in future also we have a feeling that blended education will be there. So this is one new thing which has to be incorporated in the traditional form of education, which is still prevalent in various rural sector of our country. Actually, the IT power, you have to give this people, the rural people, the power of information technology. So the concept of smartphone, so that is actually the must for online form of education. So that has to be given to the underprivileged the people, the mostly the children, the students. So it has to reach to that level. And yes, definitely there are a lot of challenges, like as you can see, like we have to keep the vocational form of education should be imparted from the basic school form. And any other form of challenge which you are going to face, we don't know what is the future. We have not got much idea, like we might have a third wave also, we might have a fourth wave, so need to prepare ourselves accordingly. You see that education system should not suffer, and the students, who are the backbone of our country, so they should not their level of education, we should not compromise with the quality of education, whatever be the thing. We should provide them the
I think
adequate so that they can excel in their life. So Joyjit sir, that's all
yes.
from my. So if you want to wrap up or if you want to conclude.
Okay, so this is what we had to say from our front. So we wrap up our presentation, and we thank the organizers of this conference for
Thank
giving
you.
us an opportunity.
I also thank the
speak from-
organizers, like for giving us this fantastic opportunity to speak in front of all of you.
So
So
we
in
thank all
such
of you.
practice situation, they have adopted this or the webinar, so this concept.
Yes.
And yes, and we also wish all of you, good luck, good health. Okay, please take care of yourself and your family. So thank you very much.
I'm stopping the recording right now.
Yes, sir.